How to analyze duty of care on a torts checklist. Have you ever wondered how to break down the concept of duty of care in tort law? Understanding this key element can really help you excel in law school. Duty of care is the foundation of any negligence claim. If you cannot show that the defendant owed a duty of care to the plaintiff, the entire claim falls apart. So, let's get into how to analyze this on your torts checklist. First, define duty of care. It is a legal obligation that requires individuals to act with reasonable care to prevent foreseeable harm to others. Think of it like a driver who must drive safely to protect other road users. Now, let's go through the steps on your checklist. Start by identifying the relationship between the parties. Ask yourself if the defendant and plaintiff have a relationship that creates a duty of care. Was the harm foreseeable? Does the plaintiff belong to the group the defendant should protect? Next, consider established legal tests. One well-known test is the neighbour principle from the case of Donahue versus Stevenson. This principle asks if the defendant should have reasonably foreseen that their actions could harm the plaintiff. After that, examine foreseeability and proximity. Was the harm something that could have been anticipated? Was there enough closeness between the parties to impose a duty? Then, evaluate public policy considerations. Sometimes, courts limit duty of care based on broader social policies. This helps avoid situations where liability could become unlimited. Next, assess specific doctrines or views. For example, the zone of danger doctrine restricts duty of care to those within the immediate area of risk created by the defendant's actions. Also, apply contextual factors. Look at the nature of the defendant's conduct and the setting. Did the defendant have control over the risk? Finally, confirm the standard of care. Once you establish that a duty exists, the defendant must meet a standard of reasonable care. This standard can vary based on the situation and the role of the defendant, like whether they are a professional or a driver. When preparing for law school exams or problem questions, clearly state whether a duty of care exists by referencing these elements. Only analyze breach and causation if you have established duty. Remember, duty of care acts as a gatekeeper in negligence claims, filtering out cases where legal responsibility should not apply. Understanding duty of care is about recognizing it as an obligation of means. This means the defendant must take reasonable steps to avoid harm but does not guarantee a specific outcome. So, when you analyze duty of care on your torts checklist, focus on identifying the legal obligation based on foreseeability, proximity, and policy considerations. This structured approach will help you tackle duty of care effectively in your studies and exams.